All right, guys, we live. Welcome back to Lateral Money Moves podcast. Identify the principle. I have an amazing person. I told y'all I keep bringing these people that's gonna help us give the truth about what's all these rumors and about the real estate game and all the ins and outs. But I was like, you know what? We're gonna kill all that noise. We're gonna bring professionals to the forefront. And it's gonna give you what the reality is in the situation. I brought a real estate lawyer. See, that's what we do here at Lateral Money Moves. We bring the professionals, especially a lawyer. We need lawyers. Everybody need a lawyer. Trust me. Trust you need a lawyer. I would like to welcome Derek. Derek, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing well, Boaz. How are you, sir?
Oh man, another day, another 50 cent out here. That's what I call it. So please, if you could, go ahead, give us, what I'm saying, give us because you own a business as well, right?
I do,
You
yes.
own a business as well, man. Give us the business name, what it does, give us a little credentials, give us the background. Don't hold nothing. We don't hold up, we don't hold nothing. We give the people everything. Give them all the details. Don't leave nothing out. Please go ahead.
Great. No, thank you for having me. First of all, I appreciate it. And my name is Derek Carrillo. I am an attorney here in the Tampa Bay area. I do have a focused practice on real estate transactions, with also some smaller transactions in the business and also some telecommunication and estate planning. I've been practicing for a little over 9 years, and I am back in my solo practitioner. I came out of in-house counsel for the last 5 years.
Hold on 1 second. Sorry, hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Let me stop this. If you could, sorry about that. Can you start from
Okay,
the top? Sorry about that.
okay.
Go ahead, all you.
Thank you. My name is Derek Carrillo. I'm an attorney here in the Tampa Bay area. And as Boaz said, I do focus on real estate transactions. And I also do have experience and practice also in the telecommunication area, estate planning, and other small business transactions. I've been practicing for 9 years, and I am back in as solo practitioner. My firm is Premier Law, and I also just launched a title company as well in July with my business partner. So it's called Local Title Group. We are based out of here as Tampa, but we can serve clients all across the state of Florida. Same with myself as a practicing attorney. And it's a joy to be here and talk about real estate and any other matters that that your listeners or you may find interesting, and I'm happy to answer as much as I can.
Awesome, man. Wow. You have a title company as well?
Yeah, we just opened up. We opened in July, but we had to go through some software stuff to get
Sure.
ready. So we're live now and ready to go.
Awesome. Now, what made you go with a business partner? What made you do the title company route? What pushed that?
Well, my business partner, he has about 20 plus years in the real estate field. And so in order to do, real estate title, escrow, and closings, you could do it one of two ways. You can do it through your law firm, or you can do it as a title company. Now, in order to do it as a law firm, everybody who works in the law firm or practice has to be a practicing attorney, which he is not. And so it was mutually beneficial that he wanted to get into the title space as well. And so we decided to go with the title company route, in order to kind of bring all of our knowledge and experience together and hopefully produce a better product and be able to, bring more knowledge and experience to the table.
Awesome. Awesome. Wow. Okay. So you just want to be, what I'm saying, serve the people more. The best way of going about that was to bring this, not the best way, but another option was to bring another business and kind of help each other out and serve people.
Absolutely. Yes.
Wonderful. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome, man. So, now everybody has a star player in the field. You know what I'm saying? In the field, because I say field because I'm in the accounting and the bookkeeping and taxes. But in firms, like, are you the go-to guy? Are you a go-to guy in any one of those? Because everybody, I mean, I'm the guy when it comes to what I'm saying, certain business owners, certain practices, certain niches. I'm the guy. They coming to me, they bringing me clients, guests, all this. But I don't know how law firms work. I have no idea. So what is your specialty? I mean, I know we know a little bit of it, but give me more detail about it. What makes you the go-to in that?
Well, in the firm, it's just me, so I am the go-to on everything. So whether I know it or not, I'm going to figure it out.
We're gonna
And
figure it out.
so Yeah, you have to. Running a law firm is just like running any small business. And I think you and I have talked offline about this. It deals with administrative work, it deals with business development, it deals with sales, it deals with finance. It's just like any small business. And you just got to figure out how to make it work for you, and then obviously address your customer base. And so that's what I like to do, and how I serve my clientele, which is anybody in real estate, really. Whether you're a real estate agent, brand new, whether you're a seasoned broker, a multifamily investor, a landlord client, whatever kind of real estate you do, I believe that there's a way that I can help. And if not, like I said earlier, I'm going to put you in someone's hands. I'm going to refer you to somebody who can, and that way, you are not left holding the bag.
Right, right, right. Now, I have worked because clearly I have switched my niche to actually real estate investing. There's a lot of firms out there. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them do a little of this, a little of that. But what made you like? What is some of the reasons that made you just go the solo route? What made you choose entrepreneurship and like, you know what? I'm going to build a firm. I'm going to go about it. I'm going to address the people and help them in my own unique way.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, a little bit of background. So, when I graduated law school, the job market was atrocious. And so, I graduated past the bar in September, and I literally looked for jobs from September through January. And I applied for everything. I'm talking family law, workers' comp, public defender, state attorney. And it was so bad that we couldn't get jobs. And then in January of 2015, a girl who I went to law school with, who was a partner in a small firm, she was hiring for a contract attorney position. And so I went to her and applied, and she's like, "Well, what do you know about real estate?" I was like, "Nothing." And she's like, "Great, we'll teach you." And I was very fortunate to sit in between her and her partner, and for about 8 months. And he did all commercial, and she did all residential. So I got to learn the transactions, I got to learn litigation aspect, I got to really absorb everything that was to be real estate, and I fell in love with it. And then so when I relocated to South Florida, I was looking for a job, and actually, at their encouragement, they were like, "Hey, while you're looking for a job, open up, hang your own shingle, and if you get a client or two, we're happy to help you. You can co-counsel with us. We'll give you forms. We will just guide you along your way as you look for a job." I was like, "Okay, it can't hurt." So I did that. Opened up my law firm when I was down in South Florida, and slowly, as I'm applying for a job, I got a client, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." So, and then one client turned into two, and turned into three, and turned into four. And then 6 months later, I'm not looking for a job anymore. I'm really just trying to grow a practice. And so I really enjoyed it. It's a grind, right? Again, it's a small business, and it's tough, especially being that new into the law field. Everybody just looks at you with that crooked eye, because they're like, "Well, why did you go solo? Why aren't you working at a big law, a big firm?" And
Hmm.
entrepreneurship's not for everybody. It's
Hmm.
really not. And it takes dedication and perseverance, and just the ability to, you know, really just business develop. And so after for a couple of years, when I moved to Tampa, I actually went in-house for a couple of years, to kind of broaden my skill set and gain knowledge in other niche areas, which I actually went in-house for one of the big three in the telecom space, which is wireless infrastructure. And so I got to learn the telecom aspect, which is vertical real estate, right? So you're talking
Hmm.
about niches. It's all different. Uh, it's a different corner of the sandbox, right? If real estate's a sandbox, it's just a different corner. And so I did that for 3 years, and then I went and worked for a national multifamily developer for the last two. And then at the beginning of this year, it felt like the right opportunity to get back into solo practice here in Tampa. I had no clientele, I had no network, and so it's almost like restarting, except for you have a bigger foundational knowledge.
Hmm.
And I've enjoyed it that much more, because I get to go out and meet more people, be in the field. I get to meet people like yourself, and just talk about my experiences, which is great. But hopefully, my goal is to provide a value add, whether that's immediate or whether that's over the long term. That's always my goal. And that's why entrepreneurship, I believe, is the greatest way to go, because it's either it's a quick value add, or it's going to be a sustained, slow, long-term ad, which I think you get more from entrepreneurs than you do bigger firms. But that's just my biased opinion. I'm sure people like larger firms, and the reputation that they bring forth with it. But that's why there's lots of us.
Right, right, right. Exactly. Because like I said, I mean, just going into this whole industry and finding another niche, I have ran into a couple of them. It's like, okay, cool, and you get the big car, you get the big, nice juicy car, and oh yeah, we've been this forever, this, and I'm like, all right, cool, man, all right, wow, and just throwing names and names, and that's amazing, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's the best option. That doesn't necessarily mean that, right? You got to find someone that you resonate with, somebody that can help you, somebody that can, you can trust. And then because a lot of people come to you because they're vulnerable. A lot of people come to me, they're vulnerable, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
So if you can help them, you can, what I'm saying, you can nurture that and then provide service and fix a problem. I think that's the point. I mean, to me, that's the point. We try to figure out what the pain is. What's the pain? Okay, how do I nurture that pain? That's what it's all about.
totally agree.
So I have a question. I have a good question now. So because you man, look here, the way you talking, like you got this, you just the goat. I'm like, Lord, that's the goat right there. That man done been here, he done been there, he done been the commercial, he done been the multifamily. I say, well, I'm trying to understand. He just all over the place. That got to be the goat. That has to be. It got to be the goat. To me.
I'm more like Skittles. I want to taste the rainbow and be
Oh
more well known.
no, Skittles. So if if you were approached, like, all right, we had somebody that was an investor. If you were approached by someone, let's just say it was, somebody trying to do commercial or anyone, how do you provide value? How do you serve that person?
Yeah, so it's a really good question. I like the broadness of it. It's about figuring out what their goals are,
Mm-hmm.
and I think a lot of the times investors don't know what their goals are. They want to invest, they have capital, or they have the opportunity to, it's a great opportunity, and they have business partners that they can do it, and so it's ultimately figuring out what's the objective here and what do you want to accomplish? Is it a short-term goal? Is it, hey, I just want to get in and maybe it's a flip. There's a lot of fix and flip investors. Is it a wholesaler, right? I want to wholesale the deal and make a quick assignment fee. And it's just really about pinning that down because once you figure that out, then you have your strategy to accomplish that goal. So if you want to get into commercial, great. My first question immediately is, do you have a finance background? And if it's yes, it's great. You are already 2 steps ahead of your next competitor. The next person who wants to do this. you know, as you know, and being in tax and having finance background is like 40% of every real estate deal. And finance is, and I would say the other 40% is legal, and then 10% of it is the actual process of, finding the house and getting it under contract.
Right.
So, to circle back to your question, it's what's your goal? Let's find your goal, and then we'll build a strategy around that, whether it's short term, long term, or the in between.
Got it. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, because it really comes down to that, right? Because real estate it's just, I mean, that is just such a broad thing. There's so much in it. I didn't know until I actually, dive in. Like, all right, what's going on with real estate stuff? What is it? We got rentals, we got commercial. We talking about somebody that, what I'm saying, that owns maybe 4 doors. We talking about someone orders. I mean, owns 400 doors. It's just, and then that gets into another thing. Are they holding? Are they selling? Are they still buying? What are they doing with the 400 doors? I don't know. I mean, it can go so many different ways. It's like just trying to understand what this person's mindset is. Okay, where you at? Where do you want to be? And then how do I help? I
Yeah,
think that's
exactly.
I mean that's my approach. I'm like, I gotta give me what you got going on. What is it? Talk to me and talk to me nice.
Yeah. I always I ask this and I try to do this. I say, explain it to me like I'm a 2-year-old, and I'm going to try to do the same thing back to you because if we can get on the same page, great. Like, I just want to know simply, what the goal is. And again, like you said, how do you want to get there? I can help fill in the blanks with that. And then there's
Mhm.
sometimes I can't, because it may be maybe out of my focus practice, right? It may be, and if
Right.
that's the case, you help them find someone who helps them accomplish their goals.
Exactly. Exactly. So, all right. So I got a great question. I mean, because You know what? You know what's funny? This is the guy that said that I have no intention of being an investor. This is me. I had no intention. I'm like, but then I got into this niche when I'm surrounded by investors. I'm like, huh, that could be a thing. Could be a thing here. All right. I hear what you're going on. And if you have been in a room with investors, the formulas, the acronyms they use, I mean, it's a whole. I have created a sheet of acronyms now. I have literally have a sheet now. It exists. I didn't know that was going to be a thing. But when you're speaking to them and you're like, huh, cap rate, what's cap rate? What's okay? All right, I need to go home and get into that. All right, okay, cool. But now I'm in the realm of I'm want to speak. The reason why I'm telling you this is because I want to speak the language they speak. Right.
Yes,
I want to
absolutely.
be able to be a part of that conversation. So my question to you is, when do you think is the right time to get a lawyer? Because you know what I'm saying, let's say I get a little duplex. Let's say, I live in one side, I got another one, you know what I'm saying, I'm around that other side. And you know what, let's say I purchase another one. You know what I'm saying? I'm going by my journey, I'm doing my thing, I'm building a portfolio, I'm figuring it out. But when do you think is the right time to get a lawyer? When does that happen?
That's a great question. And my answer to that is always be proactive instead of reactive. Because a lot of the times people are coming to me with reactive situations, like you said, where they have a problem. But if you're proactive and have a strategy, we can navigate those. Because let's say you want to buy a duplex, but let's say the duplex you want to buy doesn't allow short-term rentals in that area. Okay, well, that may defeat your purpose of buying the duplex, and it may be well served to put your funds into single family houses, where you can do a long-term lease, right? So it's again, the further in the beginning we can have conversations about what we can do, we can navigate the waters. Because what if you want to buy vacant land and you want to rezone it? Well, you got to figure out, can I get a variance in there? What's the zoning look like for that? And I'm not saying I'm a land use and zoning attorney, but I can at least put us in the conversation to where you can kind of see the lay of the land, right? You can
Mm-hmm.
say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, then you can look at yourself and say, okay, is this the right investment? And again, it comes back to your ultimate goal. Like if you want to do house hacking, great, we can do that. We'll find a duplex. You may have to do a long-term tenant, but as long as the financials meet your budget or your projections of what you would like to get, great, goal accomplished, and we can do that together. But the question is, be proactive, have these conversations up front, because like you said, a lot of times they're coming to me with problems, and there's problems I can't fix. I mean, the perfect example, and I'm so glad you brought this up. I had a client, a referral. She and her husband are first time investors here in Ybor, and they just bought a house with an ADU, and the realtor didn't inform them about ADUs and usage and whether they were legal or not. So they bought it as an investment property, right? So they're renting out the main house, long-term
Yep.
lease, and they want to do an ADU. Even
Yep.
I think I don't even think I think it's still like a 6-month lease. But they have a difficult neighbor who just moved in
Mm-hmm.
that now is calling code compliance on them for violating the ADU, and they didn't understand why that was an issue. Well, had they had done some more due diligence, um, they would have known that the ADU and Ebor, you have to go through processes to get that approved, right? Like it's not just like, oh, hey, I have an ADU, I want to use it. It's,
Right.
cities and counties want their money. And as long as you pay them their money, they are more likely than not going to leave you alone. And I use that more likely than not because, everybody's different. But that's a situation where even though she called me, I can help, but it's going to take some back end, research, to figure out what, if anything, I can do to get that approved. And then two, you're dealing with a difficult neighbor, which again you can't anticipate, but again it's being reactive. Had they had known about that, maybe they would have bought a different property, and now they're not dealing with that issue. So that was a great example,
Yeah.
similar to the duplex question you asked, but I mean that's
Right.
something that just I just talked about on Thursday of last week.
I know, bro. You know what? And I like, cause some things we just have, we flow really well, even on the initial conversation. That's the thing. Like, I didn't even know when you said the zoning lawyer or what, I was like, a zoning lawyer? That's a thing? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it is. And you need to make sure that you contact them and get that. I'm like, oh, because
Yeah.
I'm thinking back in the day. Now, back in the day, you just own the property. You do what you want with the property. You own it. You can cut down the tree. so of that one. You have to have say so of this one. You have to have these people to, almost sign off almost. Because you get one complaint and, well, you're shut down. Like, what? I'm shut down.
Yeah.
It's my property. I pay tax on this property. It's mine.
Yeah. And this
How's
is,
that?
yeah. Yeah.
But, but hey, it's crazy how you went through it because I just now know about it. And I'm like, oh, okay. So if I do get a situation where, hey, you know what, I can find some cash flow on, you know what I'm saying, that piece. Now I need to know that, hey, let me make sure I check in with this lawyer to make sure I qualify or it's even allowed to do so. But that is a good place to ask this next question. Now, there's gonna be some changes because my ears to the street with this tax law. And oh my god, it's gonna be some stuff. Let's just say that's another episode. But
Yep.
have you seen any changes? Anything that we need to be aware of in the real estate law world? Anything that we need to look out for? Anything that you see like, hey, people are missing this? Anything at all?
So I mean, there are a couple of laws. I mean, I'm sure a lot of your listeners, if they're in Florida, they've dealt with the SB 264, and that's dealing with the foreign buyer property law.
Mm,
That's going through a lot of different, um, I want to say reviews because you've had the DOJ review it, you have Florida courts reviewing it. I mean, technically it's still in place. Whether that stays in place as it is, I don't know. It's interesting how they written it, and so it affects those. I think it's 7+ foreign countries, but that's something just to keep an eye on
mm,
for buyers and sellers, agents. Um, if I was a buyer and seller agent right now, I would be keeping my eye on the class action lawsuit that's with the National Association of Realtors. Um, Basically, if this goes the way of the potential class, it's gonna reshape the real estate industry as a whole. And without diving too deep in the weeds, the how it could go is that buyers agents would now be responsible for buyers or buyers would now be responsible for buyers agent commissions, not the sellers. And so that's what they're arguing. They're arguing and saying, hey, sellers not responsible for buyers commission anymore. Only sellers only responsible for sellers. And they're arguing a lot of different federal laws, which again, I won't waste your time with here, but there's been a lot of big settlements in the last 2 to 3 months. I mean, Remax just settled on this lawsuit to get out of it. I think they settled for about 88 million. Don't 88 million to get out of this lawsuit. And they're going to revolute. They already said they're going to relook at how buyers agents are compensated. So if this goes the way of the class, think about it now, buyers. Um, why would you use a buyer's agent when you can go hire an attorney, right? And why
right,
would I pay them 3% commission to do something where then I'm going to have to turn around and hire an attorney just to review and do everything? Why not come to like a real estate attorney like myself and and pay us and be proactive, right? Don't be
right.
reactive.
Wow.
It could have big ramifications. So that's something I would 100% keep an eye on. Um, I think you mentioned a lot about tax. I think the Corporate Transparency Act, I think that goes involved into or into effect in January. So just a little bit of rundown about that. It's basically like you have to report to the federal government who the officers are and who the members are of these companies. So you can't, it's going to prevent money laundering, hiding
Yep.
assets, and it's members of the trust. It's members of
Yep.
all different types of entities. So that's something just to keep an eye out for.
Mm-hmm.
Um, those are the big things I see right now that that's going to really affect our real estate industry, and but not necessarily the Corporate Transparency Act. That's more of just, hey, don't commit fraud. just
How about
just be
don't?
open about it.
Yeah.
let's
How
just
about
let's
don't?
just skip that. But
How about
um,
we don't? Yeah.
yeah, but that's what I see right now.
Wow. Yeah. That last one hit home because I'm like, I'm warning y'all, get it together. I'm telling you, because it's. I mean, we have to understand that next year's gonna be interesting because we have a election next year, and I'm like, the thing is, the IRS is gonna put things into place to protect them. It's going to be they doing things to give them try to get proactive about a couple of things that they say out of control. So it's going to be some things. And without that being said, it's always going to be something. They are introduce or take away something every year. It's the IRS. It's always
Always.
something. Always something. It
Always.
never fails. So,
Yeah.
but I think that's food for thought when we have this event coming up. I'm like, guys, it's gonna be major planning. It's gonna be a change of power. So
Yeah.
you think let's think about that. It's gonna be some things. I don't care. It doesn't matter who you like. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's gonna be a change of
Yeah.
power.
Yeah, election years always just have shifts in the economy just because
Mm-hmm.
all the candidates, no matter who they are, promise something and stuff will get shifted whether it's whether it's good or bad. It'll happen on lots of economic impacts, but again, nothing we can do about that. It's just again being more aware of it and figuring out how to pivot should it shift.
Right, right, right. 100%. Now, this is for the newbies. Now, this is your. I love to call this the Yoda moment. I love to call it that because you know how I'm a geek. I mean, it is what it is. I'm a geek, dude. I love me some Star Wars. Anyway, I call this the Yoda moment. Now, this is what now Yoda give down the wisdom to the younglings or the what else will. So this is your Yoda moment. Now, if you were going to advise, let's say brand new investors. I mean wet behind the ears type investor. I mean that brand new. If you would give them some advice, what would you tell them?
Do as much reading and get as much financial background as you can down. Like you said, you're just learning a book of acronyms, and that acronyms book is going to change depending on the type of investment you're on. Like if you're looking at a rental property, it's different. Like you can look at cap rate, but you're going to be looking at like cash on cash flow. You're going to be
Mm-hmm.
looking at the gross rent multiplier. But if you're looking at commercial properties, you're going to be looking at cap rate. You're going to be looking at IRR, NPV. If you get in the multifamily, get a good financial grip on what you would like to invest in and do as much free learning as you can. There's so much free literature and free things to learn out there.
Mm-hmm.
Do your homework. Do your homework on it and find somebody in your city, in your field that does it and try to be a sponge with them. Go any of their events, go to their events. There's plenty of free networking events. Go talk to them, ask them as much questions as they'll allow you to ask them without, bothering them.
Yes, sir.
Take them to lunch, take them to coffee. And just you got to learn from people around you. Look, like I said,
Yes,
I'm an
sir.
attorney. I've only been practicing 9 years. Like in the grand scheme of things, that's not a lot. But I have quite a few mentors that have been doing it from like 30 to 40 years. And I ask
Mm.
them questions all the time because I want to constantly learn, and you're always going to be able to learn something from someone in your field. And I mean that broadly. Like I learn from real estate agents all the time, or other title companies, or just anybody. So
Mm-hmm.
take advantage of the free opportunities that you have and the wealth of knowledge that you have, and become educated on what you want to invest in. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's rental properties, fix or flips. Understand the metrics and understand the market, right? So understand if you're
Right.
in Tampa, do your research on the Tampa market. There's free statistics out there all the time, and just become well-rounded. That's really it. That's
Yes,
that's
sir.
that's where the best starting point is, I believe.
100%. You know what? You use a phrase that they don't really say anymore. I'm like, it's all about because the networking event is not where a networking event is. It starts. The networking event is kind of that's kind of, hey, I put a name on a face. I got the idea. I got the elevator pitch. That's not what a networking event it starts. It's the tea and the coffee and the lunch afterwards. That's
Yeah.
when the networking events. See, I didn't know that. I was just like, oh, I'm just get, I'm going ahead on practice my elevator speech. You know what I'm saying? Keep straight face, keep it nice, tight. You know what I'm saying? 30 seconds. I'm doing good because I got to 20 seconds. You know, but it's. I'm seriously. You understand? Seriously, like I thought this was Bible. Like I'm telling you, I thought it was Bible, but until I realized it's the coffee, it's the tea, it's the lunch after the networking event when you call that number and book it. Didn't even realize it until then. I mean, that's something I just realized. You know what I mean? Like I just want to share that because it's a game changer. You know how we thought networking was and building relationships and getting those wealth of knowledge. When you meet someone that has that much knowledge, I got a guy here in Tampa that is a big tax guy, and one I went to his event, and when we talked, and I'm like, oh my god, like I was just all like starstruck. And dude, we booked the coffee, and I'm like, okay, Yeah, now no, like it's a sponge. Like anything he's got going on. Wait, what? What? Okay, booking it. You're gonna be where? I'm there. I need to
Yep.
understand what you got going on. So just giving you a little bit more now. Now this is a good one. This is a good one. I'm gonna hold you long. We don't got a little bit more now, but we got to get down to the nitty gritty. We got to get down to the nitty gritty. That's what we do here. Now we love our clients. We do love our clients, but some of them are interesting creatures. Let's call them interesting creatures. I like that. I like that. Let's keep that interesting creatures. So you know the best way to say it. So I would love a story where you have been involved with an interesting creature, pretty much that client that has a lot of red flags, right? How did you go about the situation? Did you advise them? And ultimately, how did it go? Really?
Man, that's a it's funny you call them interesting creatures. I call them unique. They're very unique. Um, yeah. Oh man, that's a great question. I'm
Ah,
fortunate enough that I haven't had that many lately, right? So,
okay.
when you're first starting out, you have a lot. Oh man, this is the one question I don't think I was ready for. Um,
Ah, I gotta be ready, baby.
yes, I'm trying to think of a unique client situation. Um, Gosh, I'm trying to think of just some past transactions we've done.
Oh, it's
Well,
there.
as
Trust me.
yeah, I know. And now of course, I'm mind blanking. Um,
It's no worries. It's no worries. It's no worries. So,
what I would say to this, how about this? Let's
okay.
talk about you. I'll circle back to another thing you can talk
Mm-hmm.
about first people in real estate, and this actually goes to this. One of
Mm-hmm.
the best things you can learn too is the ability to say no, and say I don't know, right? So
Right.
being able to say no to a red flag is the best ability as a small business owner because you know your value and you understand what you can bring to the table. So that's the kind of like help you with that question because I'm trying to think of
Mm-hmm.
these unique clients that uh, that that I have, and it's a lot of the time I try not to do that because I say no, it's not worth my time and my investment and my like um losing sleep over it, right? Because I lose sleep
Right. Right.
if I feel like I can't help or if I feel like I could do more, but for whatever reason I'm not being allowed to, or
Mm-hmm.
kind of like caged. Um, but the other best thing to be able to say, and I think, and it goes all for, especially for young real estate agents, the best
Mm-hmm.
things you can always say is, I don't know, right?
Right.
That shows that you are aware of where you are,
Yes,
but
sir.
that also you can go and figure it out and say, I don't know, but I'll find out and I'll get back to you. And I say that all the time, especially in my field, because like you said, I get asked these questions on the spot, and like I'm not a library, right? I'm not just rolling with full of information. So there's a lot of times I say I don't know, but guess what? I'll
Mm-hmm.
find out and I'll get back to you. And I
How
think
how dare you say you're not a library, sir? Yes, you are.
well, this is a very small library then. There's a lot of books checked out. I need to start levying those library fees. But
Oh man.
I hope that answers a little bit.
No, it does. It
It's
does. Because
tough.
you know what? Honestly, I think this year because I had a couple niches going on and I have kind of what I'm saying cut out some and find out what a disengage letter was and been using it. It's like what I'm here to serve. I'm here to, what I'm saying, crunch these numbers, show you what the black is, show you what the red is, try to, what I'm saying, help you with your biggest bill, which is your tax bill, is your biggest bill, trying to get you to understand. But if you're that difficult, if I hit to the point where we're no longer progressive, you know what? I have to disengage. You're stressing me out. I could have this energy go to another client, and I'm not doing that. So you know what? We have to disengage. And that answer was perfect because I just really I was saying yes to everything for a moment. But then I was like, you know what? No, I'm good. I can't do it. So that answer is perfect actually. But man, this section. Y'all see what I bring to this? Y'all see what I bring to the podcast? Y'all see that? You know what I mean? We got a whole library right here on the podcast, right here on the podcast, y'all. This is what you get to Lateral Money Moves podcast. Derek, this was amazing. This has given, I got some more insight. I know they got insight. Everybody ate good when they watched this. Trust me, they're going to watch it. They're going to watch it. I promise they're going to watch it. So, man, I just want to thank you for taking the time. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for informing me. Thank you for being patient with me. And because, I speak how I speak. It is what it is. This is it. This is what you get right here.
Absolutely.
So man, I hope you're down to come back again, man, and move forward. Hope we work together. But I feel like everything is done decent in order, guys. Today, this is the end of the show. This is Lateral Money Moves podcast. Identify the principle. Derek, thank you for coming. Appreciate it,
Thanks,
man.
sir.
We're gonna close it out, guys. Everybody, as you know, peace, love, everybody.